name is Frank Gunderson, and I'm a professor of musicology at Florida State University. And my focus in terms of region in my studies is East Africa. Getting a little bit more focused, my focus is on Tanzanian labor song and the history of labor song in that place. This is what I'm currently wrapping up a book on. I also have an interest in global popular music, and I have an interest in, as well, informal music making, which I understand you have an interest in as well. I've been here in Tallahassee for 5 years, and especially here in the U.S. of a kind of a very articulated sensibility that African music, or music by Africans, or music by blacks had an association with some kind of mystical or unnameable psychological process that for a white person to take part in that, if that was done, these white people would take part in this. They would find themselves being degraded in some way, or find themselves on the way to some diabolical state of consciousness from which they would not be able to return. And this was like a real popular rhetoric. You'd find like letters to the editors in newspapers, and all of these things were associated, primarily with jazz. But then, discussions about Haitian voodoo and what were also in that mix as well. So you would see discussions about jazz, ragtime, Haitian voodoo, kind of all in the same mix, and it was all associated with the power of that music to take one down some kind of lurid road from which they couldn't return. And that was a real popular rhetoric in the 30s, which leads me to believe that, again, that it was more than just politics and power at that point. It was about that kind of sensibility of race, and more associated with fundamentalist fervor, also. But of course, politics and power are always a part of this. You can't really separate those things. But I think that we can more easily state that the slave riots, in Haiti, the slave riots in the Carolinas, that these these prohibitions that were there at those times were more about control and power, and in the case of the 20th century, it was about control and power, but it was also more specifically driven and rationalized through religious fervor.